Hey everyone, welcome to D Time, Season 1, Episode 45. Blog is life. And I've tried blogging in the past. When I originally started my 30 for 30 list, please take a second, listen to the pilot episode of this podcast. So I explained the 30 for 30 list. But when I started that, it started as a blog. I wanted to kind of blog my progress, and it's still out there. I definitely need to update it, but I wanted to track my progress in it. So I started blogging, just writing about my experience and going after these 30 things that I wanted to complete. And it was really cool. It wasn't for necessarily viewership or things like that. It was just a cool way to kind of chart my progress and track it. And so that was my first introduction to blogging. And as society and especially technology moves forward, our lives can be, if we choose, can be fully out on display via social media, via blogs, things of that nature. And so the thought around blogging, I think it's changed, and so I wanted to kind of get some perspective on a blogger that I know. Her name is Taisha or Ty, and she has her own blog, and I wanted to pick her brain on her blog, why she started it, get her thoughts on just the blogging life as in general, and just see what she has to say on that matter. So I'm excited for you guys to hear what she has to say. For all the bloggers out there, what are some things that help you keep you motivated? Why did you get into blogging, and what is your blog about? Drop a link. You can, as always, follow this podcast at D Time Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and dtimepodcast at gmail.com. So bloggers out there, please share your blogs. Maybe if you're thinking about starting a blog and you're not sure what to do, post your questions, thoughts, and we'll get back to you and share some insights. Please stick around for part 2, where I talk with Ty about her blog and see what she has to say. All right, peace. Hey, welcome back to D Time, episode 45. I'm here with Ty, and we're going to talk today about blogging. Ty, what's up? How's it going?
It's going good. Good morning. Yes.
Awesome. So before we dive in, let's take a couple minutes just for you to share about yourself, where you're from, what you're all about, just a few minutes for those that are listening.
Yeah, I'm originally born and raised in Arizona, a small part, which is Casa Grande, the city, which is very small. Um, it's really cool. I grew up with 3 boys. I have no sisters, so I think I've always struggled with just trying to find a voice for myself, because being around 3 boys, um, I felt like I guess things were a little bit more catered to them. So I always struggled with just finding out who I am as an individual and just finding out a voice for myself. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So all about blogging, and blogging is something that I'm somewhat semi familiar with. Uh, just in more of in general, but for you, what made you want to start a blog?
Yeah, that some of those reasons, like I said, it's just struggling with just finding out who I am as the individual, and realizing when I wrote, that's when um, everything just flowed out, and I felt like I always could communicate my heart or whatever I was thinking when I would just sit down and write. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are like that, and especially there's a lot of people that I would never be able to meet, just because they fear of going outside, and especially just because this generation nowadays people do everything over the computer. So I just felt like the best way to reach those people and just to show them that, they do have a voice, and that they are special, and that we are listening, and that people can relate to them, is by starting a blog and just showing, and even just showing how even my life through God has become so different. I just felt like this would be a better way to reach out to people that I will never be able to reach out to or even have the opportunity to meet.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. There's, when I think about blogging, there's blogs about so many different types of things and for different
Yeah.
reasons. For you and yours, what do you hope people, come away with after, reading your blog?
Well, some of the things that I'm focusing on now is I just have like this little aha moments, like especially in the morning when I have my time with God, of just whatever situation that I'm dealing with. I try to be real. I try to be honest. The one that I wrote about me was the first one, which is about me, was kind of talking about how, when I was younger, I was sexually abused and just hearing how even my life changed, like I said, drastically when I started studying the Bible and just seeing how I was able to overcome some obstacles because of God. And also just not allowing, just seeing like what my emotions are from day to day. I just want people to see that everyone has life struggles and that they can overcome them. And also just to hear about my journey and my daily walk, whether it be, well, daily walk in life, whether it be me just struggling my face off because,
Yeah.
that does happen, or whether if I'm going through like a ultimate high, I just want them to see that life is a journey, but you don't have to be a prisoner and shut down. You can actually overcome.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but, what is it about, writing, about your life that's so therapeutic?
Yeah. I think that so in this world there's like over 7 billion people that lives on this earth, and just to see that every person has an individual story, and even just based off, like, you can have twins, right? But based off who they're raised by and who their friends are, it can change their whole the way that they think, the way that they relate to each other. So I think that just as people, as in general, just seeing that there is a different life story, and every person that is walking has their own story of what made them them. And I think for us to share in that can literally help us overcome, or even to see, wow, you are really great at that and I am not. Like, what can I do to become like that? Um, I think it's just very, it's a wise thing to do, is just to see that we all have different struggles in life, but just to be able to share them with one another and actually grow with each other is beautiful.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now for you, I don't know how long you've been blogging, but for you, what do you consider to be a key part of it?
Oh, blogging. That's a great question. Um, I think for me, it's just learning how to be real as possible,
Uh-huh.
because I think that there are areas in our life, like for instance, like I told you, like I was sexually abused. Yeah, I want people to know that that about me, and well, not that about me, but I think that every person has a story, and to just to share it, and to even see how your life can literally help someone else. And the more real you are, the more people you can that is attracted to it. So I think it's just being real as possible, and just showing people that, listen, I have struggles too, but this is what helped me.
That's great. That's great. So say if someone wanted to, start blogging and didn't know where to start, what sort of advice would you give to someone who wanted to kind of start, doing that?
It's just to find their own voice. You don't have to be like everyone else. You can even do it as, start with your own journal, and just start writing. Honestly, I think that so many people try to be like everyone else that they forget that they have their own voice and they don't have to be like everyone else, but is journal. Most of all my stuff comes from me just jotting down notes, and then from there, from whatever I write, it can trigger this whole different thing. So I would say is to journal. And then from journaling, you can transform those things that you put in your journal into writing. But don't be scared, and um, don't think about, man, I wonder what people are going to think. Because when you start thinking that way, you won't. It will hold you back. And so I would just say is just write. Jot down your thoughts. A
Awesome.
blog
Now,
based off of what you're trying to do.
yeah, no, that's great. So I always like to close, with the same question to everyone that I sit down and talk to. And it doesn't have to do necessarily pertain to this topic, but for you, what's the best piece of advice that someone's given to you?
About blogging or about just in life in general?
It can be about anything.
Um, yeah, you know what? I think the best piece of advice that someone has ever given me is that, well, pertaining to my spirituality, is that I'm always one prayer away from being strong. So I always go back to that just because for me, I feel like at times, like, I can feel like I'm at the weakest point, but I know that for me, like I said, with my spirituality, that I can always become strong, one, with God, and then two, with prayer. So, and I think that has always helped me so far in my walk, is always to remember that I'm just one prayer away from being stronger. And I hope that even other people can see that for them as well, is that, you're always one prayer away from being strong, and stronger than you were.
Yeah. That's great advice. Well, Ty, thank you so much for talking about, blogging. I know that, I know I see a lot of people just even online wanting to talk about their life and not sure how, and blogging is a great way to do that. So thank you for taking the time to share and drop your knowledge.
Yeah, no problem.
Sweet. So, and for those listening, you can follow this podcast at D-Time Podcast on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and can reach us on Gmail at dtimepodcast@gmail.com. Ty, thank you once again for stopping by and taking the time out.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having me. Thank you, Ro.